Hello, deep soul divers. This is Astrology, the 8th house, part 6. And in this segment, I'm going to discuss all the issues and problems that can happen to 8th house people when they repress their true nature and when they repress their emotions. So there's a lot I'm going to try to cover in a short amount of time here on the video. So the first thing to know is that 8th house people have a tendency to hide, and they like to hide their emotions. They're very mysterious. They're very secretive people, very private people, and it's not something that they do purposely. It's just a part of them. It's their personality. So sometimes they don't even know why they feel this desire to go within themselves and to be secretive and private, and a lot of times they refuse to feel. And that is the problem with the 8th house. Because Scorpio rules the 8th house, Scorpios do not like to be vulnerable. So 8th house people, when they feel vulnerable, which is usually when they feel strong emotions, they have a tendency to shut down. And I call it implosions. An implosion is when you hold in all of that intense energy of Scorpio, all of that intense Pluto, Mars energy, and you hold it in, and it builds, and it builds, and it builds. And for 8th house people, it's kind of like a pot. You keep putting things in this pot, it keeps boiling, 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 boiling. And eventually it's going to boil over. It's going to explode. So explosions of emotion. And I typically see this as anger. 8th house people tend to hide their anger. They tend to repress it and stuff it down. Stuff it, stuff it, stuff it, stuff it. It's not a healthy anger style, but that's what they do. And eventually what happens is they can become very irritable. And anger, the emotion of anger, is so intense and damaging that because they hold it in and they hide it and they keep it inside their physical body, they get health problems. A lot of times they get health problems. But how it first manifests is it can come out as, irritability, depression. And the depression comes from years and years of having that anger and not dealing with it and stuffing more and more things underneath that anger. And the reason that they have this anger and anxiety and depression is because sometimes there is a refusal to express themselves. And 8th house people have to have an outlet. And I don't care what it is. It can be exercise. It can be going for a long run, lifting weights with heavy metal, pumping iron. It can be writing or talking. It doesn't matter. They need to talk and get their thoughts and feelings out of their physical body. They repress it. They're secretive. They're private. They hold all this stuff in. And the body, the energy field, cannot take it. There has to be an outlet. So through, sexuality, through, physical exercise, through working out, through talking and communicating how they feel, through writing, maybe work, doing things at work, being a workaholic, things like that, whatever it is. They need to have an outlet for this intense energy. And bottom line is they got to express themselves. And I tell 8th house people this all the time. They get secretive, they clam up, they get quiet, they don't know what to say, they don't want to talk to anyone, they tend to push people away when they're really going through, some of the real strong emotions. They try to deny their emotions, hide them, act like they're tough, act like they are fine, but they're not. And depression is big with 8th house people, and that's kind of why I talk about 8th house is the phoenix bird. Because 8th house people often hit rock bottom at some time in their life with depression and feelings of loneliness. many things can trigger it. It can be years and years of not letting themselves feel things, or um, just denying their emotions, denying their desires, denying their wants and needs. All of the sacrifice that we talked about in video 4, that can lead to the depression and loneliness. And they just don't know how they're going to come out of it. And sometimes they can't get out of bed. They may not eat. They may not be sleeping well. They may hide under the covers for weeks, not take care of themselves, not shower, call out sick to work. They may do destructive behaviors. They may start drinking more, overeating, eating too much, gaining weight. They may stop all the healthy activities that they were doing, like exercise and talking to their friends or writing. They may avoid all those healthy coping mechanisms and hit rock bottom. But they are the phoenix. The difference between the 8th and 12th house is that Scorpio is a survivor. And that Scorpio energy that rules the 8th house, eventually it's like, screw this. This is bull. I am not going to lay here and feel sorry for myself anymore. I'm going to get out of this bed and I'm going to survive. And I'm going to fight. And I'm going to get over this. This is bull. And they get angry. And that anger is what keeps them surviving. That anger is what helps the phoenix that's within each 8th house person to die and be reborn, a new bird, a new soul, a new person, a new start. And that is the gift of the 8th house, is having that anger is a blessing and a curse, because it actually helps 8th house people overcome the obstacles that they have when they hit rock bottom and when they repress and not let themselves feel their emotions. It makes them feel them. It makes them face their issues. And they come back stronger and braver and more intuitive and more powerful than they were before they went through the death and rebirth experiences, is what I call them. A lot of 8th house people have anxiety, panic attacks, things like that. And again, it goes with implosion, imploding all that anger onto oneself. If they're not expressing it out and exploding it onto anyone, then it's going inward, and they're holding on to it, and it's eating them up, and then that starts manifesting. The body starts having trouble breathing. Something may trigger it. When they relax is often when it happens with panic attacks and anxiety disorder. It's usually when people are first going to sleep that they'll have a panic attack, because it's the first time they've actually been quiet and listened to their own self and let themselves feel and think, and they're not distracted anymore. So then that anxiety hits. Or it's when they first wake up in the morning, oftentimes, when it happens for them. Or different situations can bother them, like if they have any phobias or anxiety of groups or large crowds or people, that can trigger it as well. And the cure for all of this is expressing themselves and feeling their emotions. 8th house people have to feel deeply, and they cannot run or hide or avoid their feelings. They have to feel and let themselves feel all those love, hate, jealousy, rage, all those intense emotions of Scorpio is what 8th house people feel. But they try to deny it. They try to, hide it and control it. Control is big with the 8th house. They try to control their emotions, control their anxiety, control their thoughts and feelings, and shut themselves off, shut themselves down in a way. That's Scorpio. All or nothing. It's very black or white. Love and hate. Yes or no. Extremes in behavior. Extremes in how they deal with things. That extreme all or nothing thinking is what gets them in trouble. They need to learn how to balance, and that it's okay to talk about their problems. It's okay to talk to a therapist or a counselor. It's okay to get help. It's not a weakness, because Scorpios, the last thing they like to be is weak. And that's 8th house. 8th house people do not want to be seen as weak or vulnerable, or they don't want to be pitied. That's their greatest fear. They want people to think they're strong and that they got things in control. But the thing is, they're human. And everybody has problems. No one is immune. No one's life is perfect, and 8th house people need to realize that. They are not meant to be perfect, and they don't have to control everything all the time because it's only going to cause them problems. So anger, irritability, anxiety, depression, all of those things can fall on an 8th house person at some time in their life. Health problems. This is real house I've seen through many, many charts and readings through the years. Because of the nature of holding on to anger, holding on to all those strong emotions, and just keeping them inside the physical body, it's gonna manifest physically. Anger often manifests as cancer, and if you look at a lot of the New Age books about thoughts, our thoughts are connected to our different illnesses, and our emotions are connected to different illnesses. Anger is connected, definitely has a direct link. Unresolved anger has a direct link with cancer, and some really bad other diseases as well. But oftentimes people with 8th house planets, they get problems with their sexual reproductive organs or their gastrointestinal system, because Scorpio rules the bowels, so the elimination system, okay, poop and pee and all that stuff. Anything with garbage, the elimination system gets rid of garbage. That's Scorpio energy, it's 8th house. Processing the food, disposing of it. Anything with the sexual organs. For women, it's the ovaries, the uterus, the cervix, any kind of problems there. A lot of 8th house women get issues with the female reproductive system. And I've seen it. And I'll go ahead and let you know about myself. I have several cysts in both ovaries. I was going to have to get an ovary removed, actually, but the cyst did go away, the bigger cysts, but I have many smaller cysts, and I have fibroid tumors in my uterus as well. They're causing me a lot of problems, so I've been having a lot of health issues with the reproductive system, I guess you could say. And a lot of men that have 8th house planets, they can get problems with the prostate gland, different reproductive issues going on down there, tumors. It can manifest in many ways. And, some of those different bowel disorder, irritable bowel syndrome. I see a lot of 8th house people have that. They have, constipation. They have, problems with digestion. All of those things happen when they have not healed their stuff. So if 8th house people truly want to heal their health problems, they have to heal their emotional pain. They have to talk about it. They have to let themselves feel it, and they have to process it. And a lot of times that's a direct link with their healing. Because the 8th house rules sexuality, a lot of times the repression of our desires, the repression of the sexual urge, or the trauma, the sexual trauma that a lot of 8th house people have. Maybe they were abused as a child, sexually abused, or they were victimized, maybe they were raped, and they were victimized by someone. They hold on to that energy and those memories, and it's held on into the sexual organs. So that's where the illnesses manifest. So body work, energy work, any kind of healing energy, any kind of healing, deep healing of the body, especially alternative medicine, it'll really help to get to the root of the health problems and truly heal it, instead of just going on medication or getting ovary removed or whatever. Getting to the root of the real medical issue is the most important thing for 8th house people. Letting themselves feel, letting themselves heal any kind of trauma or pain that they have is very important, because if they don't, they can be very dark and brooding types of people. If they don't have a lot of other planets in their chart to lighten the load, or lighten that heaviness of the 8th house, and that darkness, that dark energy, the heaviness of the 8th house energy is very heavy energy, very intense energy. And if their chart is very heavy anyways, say they have a lot of Capricorn, they got a lot of Saturn in the chart, they're going to be a brooding person. They're going to be naturally prone to depression anyway. So they're going to have to work a little bit harder to heal that stuff. And so looking at the entire chart is really what you need to do. But this is the basic interpretation of this. So the biggest thing they need to do is let go of the past, let go of the pain, release it, let themselves be reborn new as the phoenix bird. And this may happen over and over in their life, but it has to happen. Sometimes it's not a weakness to admit that someone might need to go on medication. A lot of 8th house people, because of the Scorpio, they're like, oh, hell no. I am not going to go on medication. I don't have a psychiatric disorder. I'm not mentally ill. I don't need anybody's help. I am absolutely fine. And they will suffer in silence, and they will suffer secretively, and they will hide, and no one will know. They'll go out into the world and go to work, and they have a smile on their face, and everybody thinks they're happy and they got a great life and that they're energetic. But when they're home, they may be under the covers, crying every night themselves to sleep, not eating, not taking care of themselves, and very, very depressed and lonely. But they hide it very well. They need to stop doing that. They need to know it's okay to get help. It's okay to take sleep medication if you need it, if you're not sleeping. It's okay to take anxiety medicine if you need that. It's not a shame or a weakness to take depression medicine. And when you look at depression with the 8th house, it's often genetic and it's often inherited. There's a genetic component to depression as well, not just astrology, but I find that usually there's someone in the family that has depression as well, or there's some similar traits with a family member, and they usually have 8th house planets and 12th house planets, I often find too, but there is astrological links with this. But the biggest thing to know is get help. Don't be ashamed to talk about your problems. Don't be ashamed to admit that you're struggling with something. You don't have to be tough. You don't have to be strong all the time. It's okay to be vulnerable. That's the lesson, because you really have to stop holding on to the pain and the trauma. And that's the only way 8th house people are going to heal mind, body, spirit. That's the only way they're truly going to heal. And it's a lifelong learning lesson and process. And it's a day-by-day thing. So I wish you all the best of luck with this. And if you have any questions, you can message me. Thank you.